watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the pleasure to feature a piece from a Kickstarter or a newcomer, Keaton Time, based in Singapore. Yes, another Singapore-based company, but they really do seem to come up with some interesting stuff from the little island nation. This particular company promises to provide interesting materials, novel materials in functional watches, functional packages. So, and I think this first watch hopefully does meet that criteria or that modus operandi that they are going for. Now, today's watch comes in this utilitarian carry case, nothing too fancy. So without further ado, guys, let's flip the camera around and take a closer look at today's piece. Alright guys, so here we have the packaging on the table, and this is really a utilitarian pouch. They tell me it will come in something very similar, maybe not exactly the same. There is some storage pockets here, but there is nothing in there at the moment. And then these kind of straps for you to somehow hold on to something, I suppose, your arm or leg or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how this is supposed to function. This is a cute little mascot. This is the Mamu penguin. I don't know what this is, but apparently it's a local artist who created this. Maybe he specializes apparently in ridiculously cute penguin mascots. Nothing wrong with that. For the production, they will be doing their own mascot, custom for the watch. So dressed in traditional Malay costume with the Keris Diver on the left flipper. So I'm going to put a shot here for you guys to check out. Now, spinability, I got to say, this is pretty darn good. This is at least a 4 out of 5. It's really low friction stuff. Really, don't mind that. That's actually pretty cool. So anyway, this is nothing else in it because, of course, it is just a prototype. I'm sure the proper one will come with more stuff, including an extra strap. This one just comes in this particular leather. So guys, this is the Keaton Time Keris Automatic Diver. Keris in relation to the ceremonial blade from the Malay Peninsula, really where I come from, so that's kind of a point of interest to me. Now this will come in several model variations. I'll try to put a screenshot here of the variations. Now the base model will just be a steel watch, $350 in super early bird pricing, and then $500 for full MSRP. Now steel with Damascus Steel will be $50 more at $400 on the super early bird, and $550 for full MSRP. Going up to the second tier models, which are grade 5 titanium case. Now they step up to $480 on the early bird, $590 on the full pricing. And if you're going to get the titanium with the Damascus dial, that's a special patented titanium alloy dial, that goes up to $580 on super early bird, and so on. Now, going back to this particular watch, this is in the third tier, meaning it has the Damascus Steel case, no less than that. This one, super early bird, you're going to step up to $640 USD with a hefty $800 USD on the full MSRP. This is what this is going to go for, in this particular version with a Damascus Steel dial as well. Okay, so that's the pricing. Okay, but of course you're going to check out the campaign in due time if you're interested. Right, next up guys, let's talk about the movement. So nothing to show you at the back, so just to show at the front of the watch here. The movement is the Miyota 9039, something I have featured quite a number of times now. Specs down the left side, you guys can check it out, and you're probably quite familiar with this movement. Rated accuracy, as you can see there, in use. I gotta say, this is bang on in terms of regulation, running within +2 seconds per day in the 5 days I've had this running non-stop so far. So that's pretty impressive to me. Okay, now let's talk about the case. So the case is part of the star of the show here. So 41mm diameter case. The bezel is just over 39.2 millimeters, so slightly narrower bezel than the case. The case is thicker or wider. Overall thickness to the top of the glass, 13.8 millimeters. 20 millimeter lug width is what you're seeing here, with a lug to lug distance which is fairly classical at 48 millimeters between my thumbs. Now Damascus steel I think is going to be more dense, but this is a leather strap watch, so overall weight isn't too much. It's 122 grams on these leather strap combination that we see here. All right, finishing. So the bezel they tell me is actually also Damascus. Now there is a defect here, in the 8 o'clock position roughly. That's from the Damascus etching process. Of course, they're going to improve that for production, but that's also Damascus steel. It looks a bit more matte in finishing, but otherwise, the rest of the case is pretty high polish, hand polished. They tell me, right, completely hand polished to get that beautiful luster, yet maintaining the Damascus steel patterns here. It's a 4-piece modular construction, and I'll try to share a shot here on the right here of how it comes together, so you can see there hopefully that you're getting the case middle, and then the lug sections are actually separately put on, and then the case back goes on the top, as well as the bezel and glass at the front, of course. Now the amazing thing about this is that, or really quite impressive thing, is that I wasn't sure whether this was a single case. They really have made the engineering so tight, right? There's no gap whatsoever here that I can see. I've kind of held this up to the light. Really, I wasn't sure if it was one piece. Of course, in retrospect, yeah, it's obviously a separate piece here, but it's so tight that it flows very seamlessly, and that's really quite impressive. That's something I really struck me about this once they told me it was actually a separate piece actually. So high polished on the case itself. The case back is circular brush and solid here. You can see this isn't a screw down case back. The actual production module will be a screw down case back. This one is just for the prototype, and you can see there they're kind of nice ceremonial blades. These are the Keris there, and it says 200 meter Keaton time. Really, that's what it is on the case back. Now, in terms of the performance and water rating, you have that unicorn position crown. So that's a screw down crown that's got a knurled pattern there. No signage at the top there, but screw down crown on the production's screw down case back rated will be 200 meters in terms of the water resistance. Right, moving on to the dial here, which is as much a star of a show as the case, maybe slightly step down from the case, but it is also part of the show here. Is this polished Damascus steel dial. They've left it plain really to let the steel, the material, be the star of the show. There is this ring of lume surrounding the dial. Now there is some defect on this ring here. Perhaps you can see it at the, say for example, the 4 o'clock position. That's because the metal wall is a bit thin on this prototype. They will thicken that for production so that you're not going to get those defects here. So lume filled ring in this prototype, it's Super Luminova. For production, it will be Chrono AMR. I think that's actually a locally supplied lume, and in my understanding, or based on the brochure and information provided, it should outshine Super Luminova. So I look forward to seeing that. The branding is rather inconspicuous, and you probably have to strain to see it. In fact, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to capture it in my shots, but at the 12 o'clock position, it's got Keaton, and at the 6 o'clock position, in that little slot there under the lume ring, is Keris. Perhaps that could be a little bit better, because that's actually really quite hard to see. Finishing wise, the main hands are brushed, and the shape are inspired by knife blank. So the core metal of a knife without the handle, and then it's got a very simple stick. Seconds, the lume are on the hands, as well as a full ring around the dial and a full bezel lume. Put a room shot right here, of course, for you guys to see how it looks like in the dark. Okay, moving on then. Around the dial, 120 click unidirectional dive style bezel with a gloss ceramic insert. I guess there's nothing much more to say about that. Let's just listen to it. 10. Okay, so very solid, pretty much no back play at all. 120 clicks all the way around. Okay, so that's really what you're seeing here. Let's just get it back to the 12 o'clock position. Hopefully, it's kind of there. thereabouts. The sapphire crystal on top is flat, so there's not a dome crystal. It does have 5 layers of anti-reflective coating internally. Moving on to the strap then. So this is Horween leather, right? This is a simple Horween leather. It doesn't even have branding on the bottom. The production will come with the option an additional FKM waffle pattern dive style rubber strap, and they will come with a custom buckle with branding and in matching material. This is just a stand-in buckle. This isn't the buckle that the production will come in. So matching material is interesting, so meaning that they will match Damascus steel to the buckle, or titanium or steel, depending on the model that you have. Okay, so that's really the description of the watch. Let's snap it on the wrist now for a wrist shot for you guys. And there we have it, the Keaton Time Keris Diver automatic, this one in Damascus steel case and Damascus steel dial. So remember, it's pretty hefty. It's a 41mm watch. It's got 48mm lug-to-lug distance, which is reasonable, but the thickness is 13.8, which is definitely noticeable on the wrist. And that's how it looks like with this particular Horween leather, which is not bad. You know, it's a fairly decent strap. I'm not a very strappy guy. I like metal bracelets, but this is what this is going to come with, along with the option of FKM rubber. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's the wrist shot and the description. Now, the things I like about this, what I feel are the strengths about this. Look, I think honestly, this is one of the most interesting offerings I've seen in a long time. Yes, it is a diver, but because it is novel, I think it was worth featuring. Hopefully you guys do agree with that. I think they have fascinating material choices, particularly Damascus steel, as well as that Chromascus. You know, that's going to be interesting to see what that actually is. Wholly original case design, you know, not copying anybody at all, as far as I know, with novel engineering and great engineering. I just have to say how this lugs integrate into the case despite being a separate piece. And then of course that unicorn crown, how can you miss that? That is definitely something quite different. You know, I've seen bullhead chronographs before, not seen a unicorn crown, just a solitary crown in any of my pieces, I have to say. And then they're promising awesome loom. I really look forward how that chrono AMR comes out. I have to say this specific case material, it is rather special. I would definitely be choosing this one if I get a choice of what case comes out. This is rather special. It's definitely a conversation starter in combination with this dial. People see this shiny stuff and they kind of look at it and say, that is quite interesting. What is that? Tell me about your watch. And that's been quite fun, actually, to sport this, this prototype around in work and other situations. Otherwise, the specs are also pretty solid. You know, you're getting sapphire crystal, 200-meter water resistant, and that solid high beat, no date. You know, good that they put a no date 9039 in there. What are the weaknesses? Well, I think obviously out of the box, I would say that the crown is too small at the moment. They will enlarge it for production, so good on them. That needs to be a bit larger, whether longer or wider. This is actually difficult to use at the moment, so I look forward to how that's going to be. The dial, right? The dial, I think it can look somewhat plain, but you know, I see what they're going for. They're letting the steel and the material be the star of the show. I get it. But I would say the branding probably needs to be a little bit more conspicuous. Right now, you really have to strain to see, the Keaton at the top and the Keris at the bottom. The contrast isn't there. Perhaps they will improve it for production. And lastly, the price point, right? The price point at $800 full MSRP, $650 super early bird. This is not a cheap Kickstarter for this particular material if you want it. That may be the thing that trips them up. I really do wish them all the best. I like to see this take off. It's beautifully done and original and different, which is why I really wish they will be able to take off. But time will tell. Maybe the price point will trip them up. Let me know what you think. I know that you guys like to see sharp price points, so let me know if you feel that this is fair value. All right, that's enough waffling from me for now. Let's flip the camera around now for the wrap up. So there you go, guys. My review of the Keaton Time inaugural piece, the Keris Automatic Diver. Let me know what you think. I really do feel that this has been one of the most interesting and novel pieces that I've come across in a long time. But at the same time, I do feel that the price point that they have to go for, because of those expensive materials, those novel materials, particularly that Damascus steel, and that may be something that trips them up. I do wish them all the best, so let's see how they take off on the Kickstarter coming out very soon. And let me know your thoughts below. As always, really like to hear what you guys think. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.